In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys the 5 best SMG loadouts after the final Warzone update. Now, some of these weapons I have in this top 5 may surprise you, but just keep in mind that 30 plus weapons were tuned in this update and a lot has changed. If you guys would like to find your way back to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. The Modern Warfare 2 content is going to be insane. Drop a like on the video as well. Could we get 215 likes in the first 24 hours of this video being live? That'd be absolutely amazing. Anyways, without further ado, here is our first loadout. The first SMG is the original Vanguard meta SMG, the MP40. Now, they actually buffed this thing, which is awesome. So here's what you want to use on it. Starting off, we got recoil booster for increase in fire rate. That means the weapon's going to fire quicker, which leads to a faster time to kill. For the barrel, I actually went ahead and took off the short barrel because they reduced the damage range nerf that was on it. Before it was negative 20%, now it's only negative 15%, which makes it a lot better. Therefore, you can go back to the Krosnik 317 barrel, and when you put this on, it makes your weapon highly accurate and controllable, so it makes this thing have little to no recoil. For the optic, you could throw on whatever you personally prefer. You could do the slate reflector, or you could do my personal favorite, the Krosnik 1M, and then you also get ADS speed with it, which I love so much. For my stock, I have the Krosnik 33M folding. You get sprint to fire speed, so your weapon comes up quicker after sprinting, and you get movement speed, so you're a lot lighter on your feet. For your underbarrel, again, multiple options here, which I love a lot about the weapon. You could do the hand stop for better recoil control if you feel like it needs it. The Smile pistol grip's also really good because you get aim, walking, movement speed, sprint to fire speed. But my personal favorite is the skeletal underbarrel because you get ADS speed and movement speed once again. It just increases your mobility, and that's what I'm looking for on the MP40. My magazine, I rock the 45 round Gorenko. You get recoil control, more movement speed, more ADS speed, and fire rate. So you get the 3 things you need to build the best class setup: recoil control, mobility, and then TTK, time to kill with the fire rate. So it gives you everything you're looking for. My ammunition type, you could do lengthen or hollow point. I always flip-flop, I'm not gonna lie, but I think lengthen might be the better option here. Therefore, you can encounter at medium range gunfights and find some success there. For the rear grip, I have on polymer, so I get accuracy and recoil during sustained fire. So my weapon is a little bit more accurate anytime I'm in a gunfight. And then my 2 perks I went with are brace for initial firing recoil. It's basically like having polymer on once again. And then perk 2 is quick, so I feel a lot lighter on my feet. It's an SMG, that's what you want. And there you have, man, there's the meta MP40 class setup after the update. For our second SMG loadout, we have the Bullfrog. This actually received an overall damage buff. Now, that's all this thing struggled with because the mobility is normally incredible. So here's what I use on it. Starting off, we have the Grew Suppressor. You get sound suppression, so you're off the radar. We get vertical recoil control, so our weapon's a little bit more accurate. We can land more shots. And we also get bullet velocity and effective damage range, which make this thing actually viable at medium range gunfights. For my barrel, I have on Task Force. We get more damage range and more bullet velocity. And we get some strafe speed, so we can move side to side quicker, making it harder for the enemies to land shots on us. For my laser, I do Tiger Team Spotlight. Look at the mobility bar, man. It just skyrockets. So, I mean, you could just zoom across the map. For my stock, I have KGB Skeletal Stock. Another massive increase in mobility, and that strafe speed, it gets even greater when you have the stock on. And then finally, one of the biggest nerfs this weapon received way back when is the ADS speed. It's really, really slow. So for the rear grip, you're gonna wanna rock Serpent Wrap. When you put this on, it just quickens it up, and it's a lot better and easier to use. And there you have, man. This thing's so much fun after the update. You gotta give it a go for yourselves. For the third SMG loadout, we have the Armaguerra. Now this received a huge nerf, but it's Warzone, y'all. They don't know how to nerf anything, so it's still gonna be incredibly good. Here is the updated class setup. Starting off, we have the recoil booster for the increase in fire rate, just like we did on our MP40. For the barrel, I have on the 570 precision. You get highly accurate and controllable, so it makes this thing have little to no recoil. You get the headshot damage, so if you aim a little bit higher for the head, your weapon is going to be a little bit stronger. And you get bullet velocity as well, which help that at the medium and long range engagements. For my optic, I have on the slate reflector. It's honestly the best one for any Vanguard SMG. Iron sights, a little chalk, so you're definitely going to need this. For the stock, I have the skeletal one. You get aim, walking, and movement speed. So again, going back to that strafe speed, it just makes it harder for the enemies to land shots on you. You just get dealt less damage on yourself when you're strafing so fast. You get ADS speed, which is also nice, so help push in the mobility, and initial firing recoil. So your weapon is a little bit more accurate with the first few shots you take. For the underbarrel, I have on the skeletal underbarrel. You get ADS speed and movement speed, so it's just another increase in mobility. That's what we're looking for. At default, this thing does lack mobility, so we're starting to build that up a little bit now. For the magazine size, I actually rock the very first one, the 50 rounder. So this used to be like a 60 or 70. I honestly don't remember, but they nerfed it a little bit. It's all good though, because all you do is just get an increase in magazine size. At default, I think it's like a 25, a 30. It's really, really bad, so you're gonna need it. For my ammunition type, I actually went with hollow point. I'm only gonna be using this thing up close, so the limb damage is just gonna make the Armaguerra hit a little bit harder, which I love. For my rear grip, I went with taped, and with taped, you get aiming stability, so your weapon's more stable. It's not always swaying. You also get movement speed, which is great. You get weapon swap quickness, so if you want to take off amped and rock something like Combat Scout, you're more than welcome to. And you get sprint to fire speed. So going back to mobility, we're making it so much better. After you have this on with the stock and the skeletal underbarrel, you're good. You got a speedy setup. And then my 2 perks, I went with hard scope for recoil control. I mean, at this point, it's a laser beam. And then perk 2, of course, we go with quick, so we feel a lot lighter on our feet. And there is the new meta Armaguerra setup after the update. Again, they don't know how to nerf weapons. So for the 4th SMG, we have the CX9. This also received a damage buff alongside with a sprint to fire buff. So our weapon can come out quicker after sprinting. One of my biggest issues with the CX9 was the mobility, and they buffed it just a tad bit, which is awesome. So here's the attachments I use on it. For the barrel, I use the very last one. You basically have a barrel and a muzzle built into one. So you're saving yourself an attachment. And the reason I say that is because you get the sound suppression in your barrel. Usually you have to do the muzzle, then the barrel. This is perfect. So we get the damage range and bullet velocity, which make this weapon actually effective. We get that sound suppression, we're off the radar, and recoil control to make it more accurate. For my next attachment, I usually rock the CXFR because, again, going back, the mobility is chalked. And if you throw this stock on it, mobility straight to the moon. I mean, just look at the mobility bar. It just goes super, super high. For my next 3 attachments, we have the 50 round drum. The default's like 25. It's horrible. So when you have this on, you're able to take out multiple enemies without having to reload. Makes your job that much easier. For my rear grip, I throw on the CX9 tack grip. Going back to the mobility, man, we're gonna need it. We also get some sprint to fire speed, which is nice because that's what they buffed on it. Now we just made it even quicker. And then finally, I like to do sleight of hand because I hate the reload speed on the CX9. So this makes it a lot quicker, and this just allows me to get in action a lot more quickly. So there you have, man, the new CX9 setup that I've been using in the Season 5 Reloaded update. And now the final SMG, I am mad excited to show you the ISO. This, surprisingly, actually received a buff in the Season 5 update, and I don't think I've ever had a gameplay video on this weapon. So make sure you guys stick around for that because I am very excited to show you what I'm able to do with this. So here's my setup I use on it. Starting off, I have the very last barrel. It's just like the CX9 barrel. It has that built-in suppressor, which is awesome, so we're saving ourselves an attachment. I actually throw an optic on this. I'm not a fan of the iron sights. It's personal preference. I personally cannot stand the iron sights. They're too cluttered, so I like to run the GI Mini Reflex. It just cleans them up. I got a nice little red dot on. For my stock, I have on the ISO collapsible. Just like the CX9, the mobility isn't that good, but take a look at the mobility bar, man. It skyrockets when you throw this on. You get movement speed and ADS speed. For my next attachment, I increased my magazine with the 50 round drum. The base, just like the CX9, it's like a 25. It is horrible. You can't take out anyone. With this, I can at least take out 2 enemies. For my rear grip, I have on the F-Tac Elite ISO grip. Aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, just another increase in my mobility. And there you have it. That is the best ISO loadout to be using. I am so excited to show you my gameplay I ended up getting with this in the future. Make sure you guys are subscribed because you're gonna miss out if you're not. And quickly, I'm gonna give you guys the perks I use and recommend for you. So perk 1, I love double time. I'm always rushing. I'm trying to get those high kill gameplays. But if I had to recommend a perk to somebody, it would be quick fix, because anytime you plate up, you regenerate health. Anytime you get a kill, you regenerate health. So this just keeps you alive a little bit longer. For the perk 2, I do overkill, so I can have an AR and an SMG. If you don't really care for that, you like to just rock SMGs. You can do tempered, so instead of having to play 3 times, you just do it twice and you're good to go. And then perk 3, I do amp, so I could swap weapons quicker. Again, if you're not interested in that, you could do Combat Scout, where you're able to see the enemies through walls if you wall bang them, or you could just have your visibility a little bit better. And then I got the throwing knives to finish down enemies, so I don't have to waste ammo. And then stims, you know, very situational. You can regenerate your health, get out of the storm, or get out of any sticky situations you may find yourself in with that speed boost. Let me know in the comments which SMGs you guys would have put in the best top 5 SMG loadouts. Drop a like on the video again. I'd really appreciate it, especially if you made it this far. You obviously enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's upload. You guys all stay safe, have a great day, and I'm out. Peace.